Bitcoin rebounding amid global sanctions on Russia and their war in Ukraine. This is all about Bitcoin, a show dedicated to all things questions and markets related to Bitcoin. Little b for the currency and Bitcoin, big B for the network. A collective journey to understand, apply, and use this innovation, all Bitcoin, all the time. Let's have a live look at Bitcoin right now. The CoinDesk Bitcoin price XBX index is up almost 6% over the past 24 hours, currently at $43,757. The most reliable reference prices for institutions since 2014 are now published under the CoinDesk brand, trusted globally as the leader in crypto news, events, and data.
The chart of the day is brought to you by Crypto.com, the world's fastest growing crypto app.
Trader and analyst Alex Kruger tweeting, quote, word on the street has been heavy Bitcoin buying conducted by both Ukrainians and Russians, mostly the latter. They have more money to protect. Kruger telling CoinDesk that, quote, Bitcoin traded at a significant premium in ruble terms on Monday. It's a matter of internal demand, capital controls, and restricted access. Similarly, this Kaiko chart showing Bitcoin trading at a 6% premium on Binance's Ukrainian hryvnia market, shown in gray, compared to Bitcoin's price in the U.S. dollar market following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Kaiko research analysts saying, quote, demand surged on Binance as local Ukrainian currency markets faced significant disruptions, with the Ukrainian central bank temporarily halting foreign currency withdrawals and the Ukrainian hryvnia falling to all-time lows versus the U.S. dollar. Similarly, in Russia, the ruble's slide as much as 40% Monday prompted Russia's central bank to raise borrowing costs from 9.5% to 20%, and the Kremlin to restrict foreign debt payments. Taking a look at some of our top headlines, Bitcoin ending February with a 12% gain, snapping a 3-month losing streak, which saw BTC tank from $69,000 to $39,000. Almost the entire monthly gain stemming from Monday's 14.5% surge. Analysts citing a short squeeze and pickup demand in Ukraine and Russia as catalysts fueling the move higher. Meanwhile, EU Parliament scrapping a ban on proof of work, according to German crypto news outlet BTC Echo. As CoinDesk reported last week, European Union parliamentarians proposed rules to prohibit crypto services reliant on environmentally unsustainable consensus mechanisms like proof of work. But the language sparked enough of an outcry that a Monday vote on the bill's passage was indefinitely delayed. Finally, BitConnect founder Satish Kumbhani is nowhere to be found a week after being convicted in the $2.4 billion Ponzi scheme that is said to have defrauded investors in the United States. Officials saying in a legal filing on Monday that Kumbhani has likely vanished from India and his whereabouts remain unknown.
The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager.
All right, joining us now to discuss BTC price and other news is Anthony Saccaro, founder of Providence Financial and Insurance Services. Hello there, Anthony. Thanks for joining us. So Bitcoin has been soaring over the past 2 days. Trading volumes are low, though. What's driving this rebound?
Well, a lot of it is, as we had talked about, and as you guys have been reporting, the Russia-Ukraine incident. For sure, there's probably not a scarier place in the world right now to have your money in the ruble or Ukrainian currency as well. So that's certainly driving it. But interestingly enough, the Bitcoin has gotten to a point where it's recognized as an alternative asset class, which is really nice to see. It's not fully there yet, but a lot of times people think you should have, stocks, bonds, cash, and Bitcoin now. And so more than ever, we've seen Bitcoin follow the market. And as the markets have gone down, so does Bitcoin. As the markets go up, so does Bitcoin. Now, that's not correlated 100%. Obviously, the stock markets are doing horrible, and Bitcoin popped over the last 2 days, 12% yesterday and 6% today. So it's not 100% correlated. But again, you've got that Russia-Ukrainian situation, which is temporarily driving up that price.
Right. Well, in Asian equities, they're actually up. In the U.S. and European equities markets, they're down. I want to bring attention to a tweet by Lynn Alden, a well-known economist, saying that maybe it will reverse tomorrow, Bitcoin. But it's kind of remarkable that a week into a significant geopolitical military event, Bitcoin is outperforming gold. Bitcoin initially plunged with global markets when Russia invaded Ukraine, but is Bitcoin a safe haven after all?
Yeah, I would say no. Bitcoin's not a safe haven, and I know that it's been called the gold of the internet, and compared to gold, but you really can't compare it to gold. And there is so much more volatility in Bitcoin. It is brand new. Bitcoin's been around since 2008, and gold's been around thousands of years. And I'm not a big proponent of gold either, but interestingly enough, where they do come together is that in a situation like this, with unstable geopolitical events that are going on, gold has risen and so has Bitcoin. So there is some similarity there, but I wouldn't call Bitcoin a safe haven. Every time someone calls it that, I almost cringe a little bit because there is a lot of volatility. I think it could be considered a good asset class. I think it's a place for someone that has a long-term time horizon to invest their money to build growth and increase their net worth over time. But calling it a safe haven to me just doesn't make any sense.
How long do you foresee this volatility lasting then?
I'm sorry, did I hear your question, Christine?
How long do you foresee this volatility lasting?
Oh, I think the volatility in the markets and consequently in Bitcoin is going to last for a while. I don't think we're going anywhere. The Russian invasion was something that was supposed to happen pretty quickly. I think Putin underestimated the response, and I don't think he really took into consideration the crashing of the ruble, as we've seen now, and really the response from all the countries around. So I think that's going to be extended. He was hoping it'd be an overnight thing, but it's not. And then we've got the Federal Reserve coming up and talking about raising interest rates. There was a point where it looked like they might raise interest rates 50 basis points, but that's now dropped down to 25 basis points. I think that'd be a mistake for them not to raise 25. I'd still be in favor of them raising 50. But the reality is, I think if they raise 50, it sends the stock market and our economy into a recession. So I think it's a toss-up there. But the reality is that's going to be a while before that's finalized. And that means volatility is with us for a long time to come. So unfortunately, if you have a plan, stick with your plan. If you don't have a plan, now's a good time to get one.
Anything to look out for tonight during U.S. President Joe Biden's State of the Union address?
I don't know why, Christine. I'm sorry, I can hear you.
Anything that you're watching out for tonight during U.S. President Joe Biden's State of the Union?
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to say anything that we're not expecting. I think he's going to be, talking more about what the response is going to be. The sanctions are working, and the Ukrainians are fighting. And I don't think that the stock market is going to react one way or the other as a result of what he says tonight. So I don't think it's going to have a huge impact on the markets or Bitcoin.
All right, Anthony. Thanks so much. We got to wrap it there, but that was Providence Financial and Insurance Services founder Anthony Saccaro. Coming up, Ukraine has a desperate plea out to crypto exchanges requesting a ban on Russian users. We talk to Binance next. Welcome back. Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation sent official letters to 8 cryptocurrency exchanges requesting them to stop servicing Russian users because of concerns that digital currencies are being used to evade sanctions. Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, was on that list. Joining us now to discuss is Patrick Hillmann, Chief Communications Officer at Binance. Hello there, Patrick. Thanks for joining us. So as we speak, a 40-mile-long convoy, Russian convoy, is rolling into Kyiv. The Russian Defense Ministry is warning of high-precision strikes in Ukraine's capital. Ukraine is asking Binance and other crypto exchanges to help stop them by cutting off Russian users from crypto, as some of it could ostensibly be funding this violence. That's a tough request to answer.
I think it's important to note that from the onset of this crisis, when we first started to see Russian troops being amassed on the border, our leadership team immediately put into place what our people strategy was going to be should this eventually turn into a hot conflict, which obviously it has, moving well beyond simply a political matter and now creating one of the largest refugee crises that we've seen in Europe since World War II. And so, over the last week, we spent a lot of time identifying who are those organizations on the ground in the surrounding area who are able to begin to take in funds and donations to start to have a real impact on the ground today, which is why we just announced a $10 million donation to ISANS and PIN and UNHRC and UNICEF. Regarding those requests that we're receiving right now from various Ukrainian officials, this has been possibly one of the most challenging moments in the history of our company. And I would argue this is one of the largest challenges this industry has ever seen. And in the end, we believe that we have to abide by our values as a company. And it's been hard, but when we look at our position in the marketplace, we're going to continue to aggressively put in place the action steps that need to happen to ensure we abide by sanctions. But for us to unilaterally decide that we're going to cut off access to crypto across a wide array of a population, we find that probably to be ethically outside the bounds of what a platform should do. I think if you look at what's happening today in Russia, a lot of those, as we've seen protests across the country, and a lot of those people that are out there protesting obviously don't agree with some of the actions that have been taken. And for us to punish those individuals without having an actual sanctions request from us, we just don't feel that that's our decision to make right now.
Mm-hmm. Patrick, we had a chance earlier to speak to Michael Chubanian. He's the founder of a Ukraine-based Kuna exchange. He hasn't slept, but he had this to say to us. I want you to have a listen.
Being a crypto anarchist, I strongly oppose that. Being Ukrainian, whose homeland is being bombed right now, and it's just devastating. So I have to balance between the rationale and emotions. So what we done, we blocked rubles. So there are no more rubles on the Kuna exchange, and all of the cryptocurrencies in Ukraine have already done so. Binance still continues to support ruble, which is bad, I think. It's a big mistake that they're doing it. With regards to blocking crypto, I think it's a bad idea because out of the whole population of Russia, the people who are actually disconnected from the TV and thus are less being brainwashed by the propaganda are actually crypto guys. So I think that it's not really wise to block their crypto because, they actually the guys who actually help us to bring down the regime from inside of Russia and Belarus.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Michael says that, Binance should block the ruble, not crypto. What do you think?
Yeah. Listen, I think it's hard to detach the two. When you look at on-ramps for new users, we've seen obviously some pretty significant inflationary issues and depression on the ruble right now. And as a result, we expect that more users are going to enter the marketplace in that region. And without having the ability to do that sort of on-ramping, they're not going to be able to enter the crypto market and therefore not be able to take advantage of a much more stable financial position that we want every single individual across the globe to have. And so, this is something that we've talked about a lot. And I can tell you that the discussions have been very emotional. But in the end, again, for us, our objective, until we are told otherwise by foreign regulators, that we have to apply sanctions more broadly, which we hope won't be the case, there simply is no way for us to do that without deeply impacting innocent users.
Mm-hmm. So Ukraine's deputy prime minister also tweeted a call for information on crypto wallets held by Russian and Belarusian politicians. He got a lot of answers. CoinDesk spoke to an advisor trying to compile these names and their wallet addresses together. Would Binance seriously consider blacklisting specific Russian users?
Well, when we're required to by a Sanctions Act, yes. we have no choice. We have to. And we've pulled together a global sanctions task force to work with regulators across the globe to understand exactly what the requirements are of us. And we are aggressively applying those sanctions as requested. I think it's also important to note that we obviously have a world-renowned internal cyber forensics team, which is made up of former investigators from Interpol, the FBI, the IRS. Those are individuals who helped take down the Silk Road, Mt. Gox, among countless others. And they are working with law enforcement across the globe to chase down these individuals to ensure that they're not able to evade these sanctions. And so, having access to that at Binance is very unique, and we use it on a daily basis. And that's why we're an invaluable resource to law enforcement across the globe.
Mm-hmm. Binance is also donating $10 million to Ukrainian refugees and opening up a crowdfunding project. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we spent quite a bit of time, 5 days, really researching. We talked with over 30 organizations to understand what was their ability to actually be on the ground in Poland, in Slovakia, Moldova, Hungary, to be able to intake these refugees, who was able to actually take a dollar for dollar donation and actually create impact for those families that are now fleeing that conflict zone. And so, we're really proud to be able to announce, working with ISANS, working with PIN, People in Need, UNICEF, UNHRC, because they're on the ground today and they're helping. And we also, announced that we opened up the Ukrainian Emergency Relief Fund to allow our users to be able to go and to donate to these causes, to have an impact on the ground today, not months from now, but literally today as people are leaving that conflict zone. And we put in an additional $6 million in BNB of our own money to show that we have skin in the game and that we're going to support our people.
Yeah, it's a tough situation to be in, Patrick, but good luck on this effort. It's called Humanity First Ukraine Emergency Relief Fund, and you guys have a target of almost $20 million to fundraise. So thank you for joining us, Patrick.
Thanks, Christine.
That was Binance Chief Communications Officer Patrick Hillmann, and that's it for All About Bitcoin. I'm your host, Christine Lee, and we'll do it all over again tomorrow at 3 o'clock in New York. Also join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern for First Mover. You're watching CoinDesk TV.